The Objective News Network, some important tips for would-be government whistleblowers. Hello, this is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Well, if you haven't noticed, there's been a lot of whistleblowing out there lately, especially at the FBI. How about this article from Politico? And I quote, "The FBI disclosed to the Judiciary Committee on Wednesday that two of the scheduled witnesses, Marcus Allen and Steve Friend, had their security clearances revoked earlier this month, according to a letter from Christopher Dunham, the acting assistant director for the FBI," close quote. Or how about this one? An interim report from the House Judiciary Committee entitled "FBI Whistleblower Testimony Highlights Government Abuse, Misallocation of Resources, and Retaliation." The report details egregious problems infecting senior leadership ranks of the FBI and the retaliatory actions being taken against rank-and-file FBI special agents. And if you go to Google, the list of whistleblowers across the government seems to go on and on and on. But what's so amazing in all of this is the lack of any type of research in determining how many people actually attempt to blow the whistle on wrongdoing in government, and then determining what happens to them in the long term. Part of the problem is separating those that blow the whistle as a legitimate crisis of moral conscience and those that are driven by other less admirable reasons like celebrity, vengeance against their bosses who may have treated them shabbily, or just plain and simple disgruntled employees, of which there are so many out there. It seems to be generally true, however, that most people don't like whistleblowers. The reasoning goes like this. All of us make mistakes in our lives that we would prefer to keep quiet. Whistleblowers, by definition, represent a threat because they are perceived as disloyal individuals who are simply biting the hand that feeds them. But whether you are just a disgruntled employee or the victim of conscience, one thing is certain. If you do decide to blow the whistle, don't expect admiration or gratitude from anyone. I speak with some experience here. Many years ago, I was falsely accused of blowing the whistle on the large government organization I used to work for. In my case, it was strictly a matter of moral conscience on my part. You see, in my job, I was responsible for preventing the theft of nuclear weapons and the technology and the materials used to make them. When I found out that security was literally in shambles, posing an immediate danger to the public health and safety of potentially millions of Americans, I couldn't take it anymore. In a fit of conscience, I refused to concur on a misleading memorandum written by my bosses to the White House downplaying the seriousness of the security situation. I was later instructed by my own bosses to attend a meeting on Capitol Hill about the security situation, where I was asked why I refused to concur on the memorandum sent by my bosses to President Reagan. In my case, I did as I was instructed to do, stayed in my own chain of command, and continued to work on correcting the problems. I never went public on my own to blow the whistle. Unfortunately, my bosses didn't see it that way. Before I knew it, I found myself reassigned to the mailroom with no meaningful duties. My security clearance was threatened, and I was set up time and again by my own bosses as they attempted to force me to quit or as they trumped up reasons to have me fired. Admiral Hyman Rickover, the father of America's nuclear navy, once said, and I quote, "If you must sin, sin against God, not the bureaucracy. God may forgive you, but the bureaucracy never will." For several years, I received congressional protection that prevented my bosses from outright firing me. It was like being part of a witness protection program, but with no real work and treated as a pariah by any would-be colleagues in the system based on the notion of guilt by association. I was still treated with disdain until I was eventually forced, after many years, out of the civil service. So, if you are contemplating being a truth teller, please, please beware. If you are doing it for your ego, celebrity, or are simply disgruntled, don't do it. It's not worth it, and you will never likely survive. If it's a matter of true moral conscience, please think long and hard about it, realizing all that it will mean. Don't do it unless you are willing to create a completely new life of somewhat lonesome servitude. Try hard to stay completely away from any involvement with the U.S. government if you can. In my case, I started a business on my own, since you can forget about anyone giving you a good job reference. And always remember the words of Admiral Rickover and expect to be shadow banned by the U.S. government, not just for a while until things blow over, but the rest of your entire life as they try to destroy you. To this day, I still don't know how many jobs I have lost as the result of FBI shadow banning. Here's a real-world example just a couple of years ago when I tried to volunteer to help my local sheriff's office here in Frederick County, Maryland, by helping them to write government grants for resources and equipment. Everything went really well until after I was fingerprinted, and my prints were checked with the National Criminal Justice Information System, run by the FBI. The FBI flagged me as a disloyal American to prevent me from helping my own community, and the FBI still refuses to explain why. So, you can expect the very same treatment if you decide you ever want to blow the whistle. And always remember, there's absolutely no protection in our current system to keep your life from being totally destroyed. It is what it is for Monday, May 22nd, 23. This is John Hnatio reporting for the Objective News Network. Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. We look forward to seeing you the next time.